Decided to go on a solo winter camping trip. Sounds crazy, but it's fun with the right gear. I got some new camping stuff for Christmas and didn't want to wait till summer to use it. Haven't used my all-season tent in a while. The plan was to hike into a campsite at a nearby state forest, about 5 miles from the road. Had to snowshoe in because trails weren't groomed that time of year. Super tired, but winter camping's cool because you can just sled your gear in. No need for backpack, no cars or other campers around. Typical though, not many folks enjoy below freezing camping. Just set up camp and I'm feeling pretty good about it. There's a dope snowshoeing trail near a sick river I'm pumped to check out tomorrow. The forest is always quieter in winter, all that snow muffles sound. But man, it's weird that I haven't seen any wildlife around here. Didn't find it weird at first, but looking back, the signs were all there. I was just about to make dinner, I hear this big thing fly overhead. No clue what it was, maybe a big-ass bird like an eagle or something. Tried to find it, but lost track thanks to the forest around my camp. Wasn't weird seeing a big bird, though. Nothing much happened after that. Snuggled into my sleeping bag all warm and comfy, and was almost asleep when I heard some weird noise. Heard a weird flapping sound just outside my tent. Grabbed my headlamp, unzipped the tent but didn't see anything. Slapped on my boots and stepped out to investigate. Didn't want to hang outside, it was getting chilly. I shone my light towards the trees. Didn't see anything up high, but something glittered back near the ground. Definitely eyes. I missed the creature at first because it was lurking between trees. It looked like a small tree at first glance, but up close it was more like a dude's silhouette with wings. And those eyes, man, they were right at my eye level. Knew it wasn't human, eyes were shining like a cat's at night. It just stood there even when I yelled at it. All I got with me is a small utility knife and I'm starting to freak about self-defense. Maybe I could smash it with my fuel canister, you know? Couldn't leave till morning though, and to do so, I'd have to go past this thing. Going back into my tent didn't sound great, then I wouldn't be able to keep an eye on it. Besides, it was way too cold out, and I wasn't prepared for it. So that's exactly what I did. Couldn't sleep a wink all night, but no more creepy creature encounters. In the morning while packing up, I found no signs of it, but I did stumble upon a weird setup of small animal bones, probably raccoon or fox size, around my former campfire. Man, I suck at identifying bones. After that, I didn't hang around. Packed my stuff super quick and bolted. Heard the wing sound again when I left, but didn't see anything or stick around to find out. No clue what happened. Never told my buddies or fam, because who would buy I saw a bird dude in the woods. Nothing super crazy happened after. No clue what the beast was after or what was up with the random bones. It didn't mess with me and seemed to know I was there the whole time. So just thought if it wanted to kill me, guess I'd already be dead. Not sure if I stepped into its space or camped right on its doorsteps. One thing's for sure though, ain't going back there ever. If it was trying to scare me away, well, top marks for that. So I was on one of these trips, on a laid-back Saturday in Providence, Rhode Island. I usually hit the river during summertime when everything's buzzing and alive. Paddling is my go-to stress buster from city chaos. Started like a usual day. Nice weather. Been kayaking since dawn, took a few snack breaks. I paddled pretty far from downtown Providence and found some chill spots where the river twists through the woods. You know, there's something pretty chill about chilling on a river and all the different greens from mint to pine. It's weird how quiet moments let you see stuff you normally ignore. Things like the way the water moves when a fish goes by or the tiny details on a dragonfly's wings. I was just paddling along, heading towards the shore where these maples were hanging over the water. Chilling by myself when some weird clicking sound broke the peace. Didn't sound like your usual nature symphony. Decided to kayak upstream and see what's up. Eyes beep-bopped around the trees to find out what was behind the click-clack. Felt like I was in a nature meets robot apocalypse in the middle of the woods. Started getting creeped out, feeling like I was being stalked by some invisible creeper. Spent lots of time hiking and stuff, but never felt this kind of eerie vibe before. Seriously, goosebumps in summer heat. Despite freaking out, my curiosity didn't let me turn around. chased after these weird noises further into the woods. Had no idea I was about to stumble upon something nuts. Thought about turning back when the forest suddenly went quiet, like bird chirping and leaf rustling quiet. Even noticed the changes in the water. No more regular ripples from fish and bugs, just large splashes like some big-ass thing was stirring the water. So I froze, totally freaked out. That's when I spotted this weird thing crawling near the river, like 20 feet from me. Suddenly the clicks and moving water made sense. Scared the crap out of me. Saw this freaky critter, kinda human-like, but all twisted like in a horror movie. Its movement was insanely unnerving, and it was cruising on all fours, quick and smooth. Damn thing was surprisingly big, too. Saw something like 5 or 6 feet tall, all curled up. It was weirdly naked and super pale. The face was a serious freakout, total blank but 2 massive black eyes, just sucking up all the light. Super creepy stuff. My heart was pounding. I was scared stiff when that freaky creature popped up. It disappeared as quick as it came, leaving me freaked out. I was totally shaken and my adrenaline was off the charts. I noped out of there and canoed off super fast in the opposite direction, ditching that creepy spot. Still kind of messed up thinking about that day. Feels like I'm tripping, but I swear what I saw was real. Some creepy skeleton thing. Still freaks me out big time. No clue what it was, though. Heard about weird creatures in the woods before, but never believed it till I saw something for myself. That day shifted something inside me. Now I can't look at the peaceful Rhode Island wilderness the same way anymore. I had this strange encounter during one of my hiking trips a few years ago. Thought it might be worth sharing my story. This one particular night of stargazing turned into an experience I've struggled to wrap my mind around ever since. I have always been a sucker for wilderness and solitude. The adrenaline rush from being in a remote, desolate place, it just rejuvenates me. I guess that's why I took off that weekend, heading up to the Manistee National Forest in Michigan. All I wanted was to sit by a crackling fire, eat canned food, and wake up with the brisk morning air in my lungs. Just me in the wilderness. I remember finding this absolutely serene spot by the edge of a dense thicket, right next to the Manistee River. The view itself was enough to make up for the 4-hour drive. I spent the afternoon setting up camp, collecting firewood, rigging up my old tent, just immersing myself in the simple labor that wilderness demanded. It was a clear night. You could see every star in the sky. I managed a decent campfire, kept myself warm with an old camping jacket, and survived on canned beans and crackers that I had carried. Beautiful simplicity, if you ask me. I zipped up the tent after dousing the fire, and I don't remember how long it took for sleep to wash over me. Probably not too long. The fatigue after a busy day always ensures a good night's sleep. Now, while I love camping and all, you've got to understand, the wilderness can play some weird tricks on you. Your mind suddenly becomes hyper-alert about every rustling leaf, every breeze, every solitary hoot in the distance. Usually I treat it as a part of the adventure. Little did I know that night was going to be wildly different than my usual adventures. Finally nodding off after some tossing and turning, I remember being jerked back to consciousness in the early twilight hours. I still had my doubts if it was real or just a dream. There was this guttural noise, not too far from my tent. It was an echoing low moan, a mix of a growl and a guttural grunt. It was a sound I've never heard before, and believe me, I have heard all sorts of animal and bird calls during my camping trips throughout the years. This sound, it felt primeval, ancient even. Now, it wasn't too menacing, but definitely put me on edge. Shrugging it off as some forest animal, I told myself I need to get used to it if I wanted to continue camping out so often. I kept lying there, waiting for sleep to claim me again, wondering what could make such a bizarre noise. My mind dared not wander towards thoughts of the unknown. Dozing off, I remembered. I forgot to cover up the rest of the canned beans. Figuring some scavenger had sniffed it out in the middle of the night, I drifted back to an uneasy slumber. Unknown to me, the real surprise awaited when dawn broke. As the first light of dawn crept in, I could hear the chirping of birds outside my tent, their melody strangely comforting after the eerie sounds from the previous night. Still groggy from the unexpected wake-up call, I stepped out of my tent. The morning was beautiful, the mist from the river floating in lazy spirals. As I was working the sleep out of my eyes, something caught my attention. There were these massive footprints circling around my campsite. They were easily about 17 inches long and much wider than any human foot. The shape was hard to define in the morning light, but they had deep imprints. The creature who made them was heavy. The shape appeared human. There seemed to be the outline of toes. That sight, it rooted me to the spot, the echo of that sound from the night ringing again in my ears. Feeling a shiver, I approached the remains of last night's fire, half the logs knocked over, my forgotten bean can crushed as if run over by a truck. The grunts from the night, the footprints, I tried reconciling it with a bear maybe. But deep within, I knew this was unlike any bear behavior I've heard of. A dread was sinking in, almost choking me with nerves. With heart pounding in my chest, I decided I couldn't stay. As much as I loved the call of the wild, this was just too much. Made my blood run cold. Hastily wrapping up my camping gear, I left that can of beans there, a quiet marker of a night I couldn't forget even if I tried. I wasn't sure what had visited my campsite that night. On my drive home, my mind wrestled with questions I didn't have answers to. Was it a bear? Did the darkness in my imagination turn a simple scavenger into something more ominous? Or was there really something out there, lurking in the thickets of Manistee Forest? The footprints, the dreadful sounds that had punctuated the stillness, the shattered remnants of my campsite, all of it felt so real, so tangible, and yet unbelievable. I think I know what made those prints, but I'm almost afraid to admit it to myself. The mystery of those colossal footprints and uncanny sounds didn't keep me away from the wilderness, but every so often on a solitary camping night, around the glow of the campfire, I find my mind drifting back to that November morning in Manistee Forest, filled with an unnerving mix of apprehension and intrigue. Living close to Anchorage is a bit weird with some peculiar people. This happened a few winters ago, back when I was in this place. Was out in the boonies dealing with some strange stuff. Had this off-grid cabin in the middle of nowhere. Loved the peace of the place, but job ops were thin. Ended up as the local Mr. Fix-It. Knew a bit about plumbing and electrical stuff, no school, just learned on the go. Not a pro, but got the work done. Being a tradesman can take you to weird places. I mean, most days it's just usual stuff like leaky taps and blocked loos. But sometimes things get odd. One day I got a call for a mystery job. Needed a gig and took this weird job in town. Local gossip about strange noises and funky smells happening right outside town. Got to the house and everything seemed normal, but damn, it was dead silent. I didn't hear any birds, squirrels, or even the wind. It was dead silent. Not what you'd expect, even in a non-city area or winter season. Started to snoop around the place, looking for any weird signs. Saw some weird tracks in the bushes, like a beast had been romping through. It was Defoe something big. Definitely not a bear given the time of year. Might have been a moose? There were also some weird marks in the snow. It was pretty weird. If you've been around horses, you know they love a good dirt or snow roll. The place looked exactly like that, as if a horse-sized beast had been rolling around. I just assumed it was a moose. Never really pictured a moose rolling around in the snow, but hey, anything's possible, right? Checked the spot for some tracks. Whatever was here definitely left something behind. They were kind of buried in the snow and hard to make out. Kind of looked wolfish to me. Maybe a wolf? That made zero sense. There's this huge creature, like horse-sized, just chilling in the snow. Definitely not a wolf. Then bam, I hear this freaky growling noise from the forest behind me. Could have been a wolf. Dunno for sure. Then this god-awful smell hit me, kind of like a wet dog meets rotting garbage. That stench still haunts me. This was sickening. It was what everyone was talking about. I just knew it. Something didn't feel right. I had zero clue about what I'd find or what I was about to walk into. Knew this gig wasn't going to be the usual stuff. Had no clue just how wild it'd be, though. Heard something shuffle behind me, so I dropped and tucked behind the nearest tree. Heart was racing like crazy as I dared to take a quick look. Saw something big near the woodline from where I was. Crawled over to another tree grove to get a closer look. Turns out it was a massive figure standing upright. Looked like a man, but wasn't one. Massive shoulders and a hunched back, straight out of a horror movie. This thing sort of looked like a hyena, but also a weird mix of a bear and a wolf. Before I could wrap my head around it, it growled at me super low and scary. Never heard something like that before. Definitely out of my league. All I wanted was to bounce. I backed off slowly, hoping it wouldn't see me. I figured running would start a chase, and there's no way I could outrun it. I tiptoed away from the thing, constantly watching it, and eventually legged it back to my ride. Even inside my truck, I was trying to wrap my head around what just happened. Been out in the cold too long, my brain playing tricks on me, or I legit saw something freaky. Sitting in my living room trying to make sense of it all, but couldn't shake off that eerie chill. Found myself checking my phone for local Anchorage wildlife. Wolves, bears, heck, even Bigfoot. Met nothing like that thing out there. Seriously, what the hell was it? Just had a wild thought. Could it be some dude in a suit trying to freak us out or some unknown critter? But seriously, nothing's adding up. Thought I was losing it when I saw that creature, heard it in the woods at night and smelled what seemed like a dead dog. But others have seen the same. So are we all nuts? Or is there something scarier out there that we don't want to confront? So I had this weird experience as a teen. Not sure about the year, but mid-2000s sounds about right. I was in high school then. My small town in Pennsylvania was boring as hell. To kill time, we usually got into ghost stories, because every place has its fair share of spookiness, right? There's this massive, creepy, abandoned asylum on the edge of my town that's rumored to be mega haunted. Us kids couldn't help but poke around in it. Checking it out basically became a dare contest. I got wind of all sorts of wild tales about light orbs, weird kid voices, and things moving by themselves before I even walked in. I've always thought of it as a way to freak out the little kids. There's this creepy old asylum on the outskirts of town. It's totally overgrown with plants. The place looks like something straight out of a horror movie with its worn-out bricks and fancy design. Bet it was pretty impressive when it was brand new. So here's the deal. I found myself in front of this super creepy, old-as-dirt insane asylum that was built like an apartment complex. It probably used to look okay, but not anymore. I had a flashlight, some water, and a Polaroid camera in my bag. I've heard too many wild stories about this place, and I was ready to see what's up. Walked past some creepy iron gates and got a freaky feeling. There was a strange zap in the air. Navigated around some broken beams and wiggled through boarded-up entrance. Got smacked in the face with a heavy smell of dust and decay on the insides. Started exploring this creepy old building, flashlight and camera in hand. Came across what looked like bedrooms. Still had old iron bed frames and stuff. Clicking away with my camera when this weird scratching noise started. Scared the crap out of me. Shone my flashlight where I thought the noise was coming from, but saw a squat. Figured it was just some critter hidden away. Then I heard a whisper. Couldn't tell what was being said, but it was 100% a voice. I wasn't alone anymore. Wow, so this chill breeze just whizzed by me out of nowhere. Moved my flashlight around and saw this eerie, smoky dude in the corner. Super weird how my light played with the fading wallpapers and that shadowy figure. I just stood there like a dummy, couldn't move even if I wanted to. Felt like my shoes were cemented. This weird shape started floating closer, like it was sort of swimming through the dust in the air. Despite feeling super creeped out, my curiosity won over. I snapped a pic with the camera, and it spat out a Polaroid. Couldn't check it out right away because I was too focused on the figure standing in front of me. This ghost-like thing drifted closer, just ignoring walls. It was so cold around it you could see it, like ice spreading on a lake. Made me want to shake hard. Saw this being's face, no features, but it spoke. Said, "Help me." Like it scared the life out of me. Girl, I freaked out and got the hell out of there. Felt my heart racing like crazy, nearly puked. gave a little scream and booked it from the room, flashlight going nuts all over the place. Hopped the rubble and burst out the front door. Looked back, but didn't see the ghost. Tried to chill when I got home, but couldn't shake it off. Wish I'd stopped to ask the ghost if it needed help. Maybe it was stuck or something. Took me ages, but I went back. No sign of it, though. Can't stop thinking where it ended up. I like to imagine it found peace, however, that works for ghosts. So this whole thing kind of made me believe in ghosts, but without freaking me out. My ghost experience? Not really scary, just weird. The ghost didn't mean harm, just wanted to, I guess, move on or something. So, don't sweat it if you hear weird noises at night. It's probably just a chill ghost passing through. I booked it up the hill near the stone and dang, I tripped. Ate dirt, thought I was a goner. Rolled onto my shoulder and peered back. No sign of the monster. It wasn't stalking me or playing cat and mouse. Just poofed, like the skull scared it off. I backed up towards the desert and saw more footprints. Looked human. When my mates showed up to take the stranger back to our infirmary, I was losing it. I couldn't shut up about what I'd seen for weeks. They kicked me out of the service soon after, telling me to look after my head. So they chucked me to the curb and told me to zip it. That's why I'm here blabbing.